Mark Szymanski back with another WP Minute appearance in the Solopreneur playlist, tucked deeply beneath all of the stuff that everyone else watches except for this show.
Well, this is always a great chat. I'm happy to be back, Matt. Thank you so much for having me.
Been a while. I haven't chatted with you in like it seems like months, but it's been like 2 weeks. I don't even know what you've been up to, but we're going to dive into some of that stuff today. I have some housekeeping to do before we get to your stuff. The Dog Days of Summer live stream webinar event Monday, August 18th, 1 p.m. Eastern. It'll be linked wherever you have, because I didn't set up a special URL. It'll be linked in the YouTube description where you're watching this. Join me, Kurt Von Onen, Toby Crines. For you WordPress agency owners out there, Mark, you know what this is like. It's the dog days of summer. People aren't making decisions unless maybe you're a hustler like yourself. Summer, I hate to say it, it's not coming to an end, but it's certainly that last stretch where everyone starts taking vacations and they're wrapping stuff up. And what I always found in my decade of running an agency, that no one was making decisions. No one was like, okay, I'll get to it when I get back from vacation. I'm wrapping up this thing before school starts. That time sucked as an agency owner, and then so did right before Thanksgiving when nobody was making decisions at the end of the year. Dog Days of Agency Summer. We're going to talk through it. We're going to chat with you, the agency owner. Register for free Monday, August 18th, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you want to interact with us and ask us questions, click the link in the description. All right, Mark, what have you been up to?
Been working, man. Been making daily shorts. It's been really good. I think I might have said that last time.
Yep.
Still going strong. I think we're on day 73, so that's been great.
And you're not doing these in bulk fashion, right? You're just doing them. It's 10:30 at night. You go, oh shit.
Yeah.
The wife is like, aren't you coming to bed? You're like, I got to do this. I got to do the short thing that I promised that I would be doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's normally she goes to bed around like 9 or 10. I'm like, yeah, I got to go down and do my short now. And she's like, okay, do what you got to do. And then I go.
You tell the boys, like, I'm not hopping on the Call of Duty squad. I got to do this first, and then I'll hop on it.
It's been hard. It's been hard. Yeah, it's been hard. I've been trying to get to sleep earlier. Battlefield 6 or whatever is coming out. They want me to get on there. I'm like, nah, bro, I gotta grind, hustle, make some money. So yeah. Yeah, I've been doing the daily shorts. Still working on, I can't remember what we talked about last time, but we have an active project for Find a Tech that we're working on. Subcontracted the design and development of that. That's huge.
All right, I like that. So let's talk about that. How did you score that? I mean, without giving away any details that you don't want to give away.
I mean, I could pretty much talk about whatever, but I think it's all in my agreements that I can talk about whatever. So I'm an open book. Yeah, it's for like a law firm, and had a connection, and then sold it.
You had a connection with a bigger agency, is that what you're saying? Or just like an agency that ran the site for these people?
No, a friend. Like I know the owner of the thing. So but then I was like, I don't like I sold it, and I was like, I don't really want to do the design and development for this one, and I've never done that before. Like I've always just, figured it out, put it together using, like I don't know whether it's like a template library or like frames with bricks, etc. So yeah, so this time I actually got some help. I paid somebody to do some work, so I have to do less work. It's actually phenomenal in a lot of senses. I mean, obviously it comes with its own struggles in certain ways, but it's a totally different, it's a whole new world, as they say. And
besides being the project manager, what is it that you're executing on?
So yeah, obviously I'm still the middleman because it's like a white label situation with the contracting party. But yeah, I mean, project management, gathering the content. I mean, I personally, so here's the thing. I'm trying every single time I do these to do more things that I like actually, I don't want to say just enjoy, but I'm actually like effective at. I am not effective at design. I am a little bit more effective at development than I am at design, but still not that effective. I'm really effective at strategy. I'm really effective at like bigger picture, branding, strategy, flows, that type of thing. So I don't have a full process, obviously, for this yet because it's my first time doing this with somebody else. But what I have been doing is like I set up all of like the kind of like what you could call the basically the strategic sitemap of everything. So, obviously your standard like about home contact, but then in this case, there's like practice areas for a law firm. So you have like 4 big areas, and then you have a bunch of other areas underneath. So those are all actually like child post types. There's like there's 4 main post types, and then there's post types underneath those, underneath the larger CPT of practice areas. So just like working all that out, conversing with the client to see like what actually makes sense in the context of their business to lay that out in front of their customers. And then, just like gathering the data and different things like that, mainly like interviewing the client as well. And then creating that content with the help of AI friends, we'll say, various AI friends, which has been going great. Yeah, I mean, the hardest part of that whole cycle is literally just keeping the client accountable to get media that you cannot produce per se, like again, like new headshots, office photos, things like that. But that's not new to me. That's something that I've had to do before. So, but the idea of giving another team or another individual direction on, hey, this is the project we have. Can you design and implement it? And then like I just have a mock-up sitting for me in Slack of the homepage. Like, hey, can you review this? Can you review it with the client? And then doing that, and the client being like, wow, that looks great. And then me being like to the subcontractor, like, wow, that looks great. Like, like that type of thing. That's dope. And then just honestly, I think I need to work on a team like that a little bit more, because sometimes I just like sit around here, walk around here, and I just like get fucking like lonely almost. Like I'm like not lonely, but like I just, if I don't have that stimulus, I talk a lot, but if I don't have that back and forth, it's rough. So
is it something that you're going to be able to replicate, for future projects, or is this person kind of just tied, that one that you're subletting out to, are they just tied to the referral that sent it to you? In other words, will you be able to work with this person again on another project?
I could definitely work with this person again. Do we want to talk numbers? Is that valuable to the audience?
Sure. Whatever you want to provide, Mark.
I don't really. Well, let me preface it. Why do people not talk about numbers?
Well, I mean, I would say that just people are afraid to be criticized. I'd say it's probably
I'm
like
not afraid
number
to be
one.
criticized.
Other than that, or just like, knowing how much money you make, I think there's a stigma to that as well.
Definitely don't care about that either. All right, so we'll do it. I don't give a fuck. Sold that project. I did this thing where like, actually, I don't know if I might have actually talked about this to some degree, but like I could go more in depth, because I'm not saying that this is the right way to do this. This is just what I've gathered and ascertained from other people. So when I pitched that project, I just did it as, I can't remember the exact numbers, so I'll give you rough numbers. It was like somewhere around like, like 10,000 for 2 payments of like 5 or something, or maybe it was like 9,000, between 9 and 10. So it was like 2 payments of like 45, or a little bit of a discount, like a 10% discount to pay all up front. So that's what they ended up going with, because everybody likes a discount. And then I actually didn't sub like that, like I didn't actually find the subcontractor right away, because I talked about this. I mean, I talk about everything openly. Like the one day that I said, hey, I have a project and I'm thinking about subbing this out, I had 15 million people hit me up, and it's great. Like there's like, this is the cool part about having like some level of an audience, or just like connections with people. So then I ended up choosing one. Now that's the hard part. I will like, that's a little bit of a nuance. We can come back to it. The hard part is having 15 million people reach out to you, and then you have to like pick one, and then you kind of like have to feel bad because like you picked one and not like the others. So I don't have a great solution for that, but that's just like hiring people. I don't know if there's a great answer to that. It's just, you just got to do what's best for you. But to sub that out, the design and the development part, and basically not have to really do anything on that end. I know this is probably where I will get not criticized, but people be like, oh, you're paying too much, you're paying too little, whatever. That was about $3,000. So now I think, to me, I don't have by any means have the perfect financials set up here, but like, to me, that doesn't seem awful, considering the amount of work that I have to do, and considering how good of the quality of the work that is being produced and the quality of individual like that is doing the work. So, I'm sure my first crack at this has not been perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. It is definitely better than me sitting around trying to fucking put together a design and go through all the development, all the little mundane stuff, and literally hating my life. The one thing I have not done very well, and then I'll let you ask your next question. The one thing I have not done very well is ideally I would have sold this, set it up, got it, kicked it over to my boy, and then like go, you know what I mean, like that, and then go sell another one. Like ideally, that's what I have to. I didn't really do that because I've been preoccupied because I have a backlog of shit on the content side that I have to deal with. But overall, this is moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that is the biggest challenge. Is like is why I've always talked to you about like you operating and running an agency and being an operator, and it becomes a totally different job. So it's good to see that you're like progressing and trending in this direction. I just want to take a step back. This is, you said you got this site referred to you, so you didn't have to like really hard sell this customer. This customer's kind of like warmed up to you, and they were kind of like jumped in the boat kind of thing.
Technically, it's a sale that it's a sale that started. It's a relationship that I've had for a long time. It's a sale that started like a few years ago, and just never was the right time for them to redo their thing. So it's just a business owner that I know, that I have connection with. And then, yes, I did not have to cold sell. I did not cold outreach. Person already knows that I'm legit, that I'm good at what I do, that type of thing. Yeah. So it was an easy sell, which I do think I have more easy sells because I have a wide network. I just don't know if that's obviously not super sustainable, to just like start asking your friends like to for work. That's stupid. Long term.
Easy sell if you consider 720 plus days an easy sell from day one. And I say that,
I don't know if they would all be like that, but yeah.
Right. I say that because I think one of the things that people also kind of have to learn, and look, you and I have gotten to offline arguments where you've been like, I don't know why you're yelling at me about like this stuff. Like, I don't know why you're saying this. It's because like there is no perfect science to this. It's why I love and hate the agency game so much, is because you can just like figure stuff out on your own, build your own processes, sell at your own rates, to a degree. And like, you can kind of like make your own way of building a business. What's different than like if you were selling tires or car parts or whatever. Like it's a different thing. Anyway, the point is I think a lot of people overlook, that lead time, that sales lead time, which is important to understand. Like if you go and do this again, this is me hypothetically speaking, but if you go to do this again with this same type of client, right, or the same business that they're in, law firm, and then like I guess maybe what practice in law firm that they might be, because there's so many, will the next person that you talk to also take 2 years, right? And maybe it takes 1 year, maybe it takes 6 months, and then you kind of start to refine this process, because now what you've done, which I know I'm just stating it for the audience, is you've built now this portfolio piece. Well, once the site's done, you'll have the portfolio piece, you'll have the case study, you'll have their logo or whatever, and now you're the guy that built this for them, and you can do the same in that space, and now it's time to like build that rinse repeat process. Like, what words worked in that sales process? It took 2+ years, but like, how do we get to that next one? Like, what can you say or do in marketing and in your sales process to accelerate that, right? It's all pretty basic stuff, but it's also something that is like often overlooked, because a busy agency owner, maybe freelancer like yourself, or, now building a team, won't have that opportunity to do exactly what you just said. You're like, oh shit, I got all this other stuff with content I'm doing. I should have gone out and just started selling another one, because now I can get this ball rolling.
Well, I mean, I got some thoughts on this, man. Like I've been juggling and doing too much for 5 years. Like, I mean, and it's actually not a bad thing, because I've started, pretty young, like not as young as some of these fucking kids now. They're like 16 years old making $70,000 a month or some shit. But like, I mean, in like actuality, I've started pretty young. I spent like a couple years in school, and then in job, and then I left, and then for the last 5 years, like since COVID time, like I've been just like doing all sorts of stuff. My last short last night was literally me explaining how I've built 6 LLCs, and a few of them didn't make any money because I was just like ambitious and silly and just experimenting. So I'm almost 30. My 20s have been spent reasonably well at like figuring out and like doing different things. Now though, I am much more like refined. I still feel like I need to get more refined, but like I'm much more refined than that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, the one thing that I have not done well whatsoever, and it intrigues me because I think about other people in like the agency freelance space, and I'm wondering like what they're doing, because I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to, like, build websites for people. I'm trying to learn about AI automation, all this shit. I'm making all this content, like, like objectively, like at least like one video a day plus all these other things. I'm having conversations with all these people because of the I don't want to call it influence, but like the level of like connection now I have in like the WordPress space, etc. And it's like it just takes like a reasonable amount of time and like a lot of just mental bandwidth to deal with all that. So I say all that to say that like the one thing that I have not done specifically in the agency side is I haven't done any outreach basically ever. Like I put on X or wherever the other day that I did one cold outreach thing, and for some reason I was just like, you know what, I should I should go and I should see if I can find like a cold, like basically cold call, but like cold email someone. And I just like one of my more recent like profitable like clients that I loved was a civil engineering and land surveying firm. So I was just like, let me just Google land surveying in random area. Okay, Los Angeles, because they definitely have money out there because it's fucking expensive as hell to live out there. And then I'm gonna like find this, and then I'm just gonna throw together a quick video that has like some value and like how I would make their digital presence and website better, and then be like, hey, you want to chat? Hit me up. Now, one is terrible. You have to like send like a million of those in order to get something to happen, obviously. But I made it really personalized. No response there. But my point is that I'm not saying just send one and expect to get anything. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying though is like I've never done any of that. Like pretty much I've lived my agency life mainly from word of mouth and referral, like I think a lot of people do. And it's just been like a daisy chain of like, oh, this person then knew this person, or was like another person in my network or whatever. And that's not how you run a profitable agency. Like it can't be, because you're not going to have enough work to do.
It's still yeah. I mean, it's still a very large part. Like referral business,
yeah, for sure, but
it's still huge. And don't forget, it
not
compounds.
When it just starts from you. Yeah,
well, it'll compound over time as well. So like as you get more clients, and especially as depending on like where you're servicing work, especially if you're working in like the B2B space. When I mean, plenty of times at my agency, but also like when I was at Pagely, selling hosting.
Yeah.
If you were, talking to the, head of marketing and you sold them an account, and guess what? They leave their job, they go somewhere else, and now you've got them again for like another opportunity, which actually happens at the WP Minute as well for sponsorship quite often. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sell yourself short on like thinking really well or really deeply about how you build a referral system and how you nurture clients. Because I think eventually, and not to throw like all the stuff at you, but one of the things that was an immediate struggle was, keeping in touch with these clients, depending on how you're like, if you're not supporting them or doing maintenance contracts or whatever the heck the kids call it these days, like that is critical. Is once this machine starts working for you, keeping in touch with your clients is critical.
Well, the thing I would say there is, see, for the longest time I've tried to like keep everything really separate. Let me go back to this LLC bullshit for a second. I made all these LLCs because like I'm this idea of like I'm my own person and I have my own ideas, but I have like so many different areas of things that I wanted to do. And I had the digital agency, I had the personal brand stuff, I had the podcast stuff, like I had all these different things, right? What you just said though is like kind of, you're absolutely right, but a little bit, at least a little bit of a hack to that is this whole high visibility and like omnipresence that I was talking about. Now, obviously you should build like some sort of like nurturing lead system or something and be, CRM and like reach out to them. Obviously, maybe that's the case too. But what I'm saying is let's dumb this down and go caveman with a rock. Okay. Everyone's on social media, right? I post a short video every single day. Now, is the video like perfectly applicable and extremely valuable to every single person that sees it? No. However, they do see my face every single day, like most likely, if they're connected to me, which I pretty much connect with everyone on earth that I know. So like that is like a little bit of a hack there, where I think that the omnipresence thing in whatever I'm doing, which is candidly one of the only one of the very few things that I feel like I could actually, when I say I want to do that for the rest of my life, I genuinely feel like I could do that for the rest of my life, because there's effort involved, but it's so easy. Like, and I just love documenting my life. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So my whole point saying that is like, yes, you want to nurture, but also if you create a situation where like you are the face of the things that you do, even if you're not the one doing all of the work, if people know that you inherently have some level of value, and you just constantly are near, like popping up like all over the place, and like, oh shit, like this guy, every time I scroll, I see this guy's face. I mean, I didn't pioneer that. Like there's so many other people doing that are way more successful. And obviously they're providing a bunch more value too, but that's just,
but the business critical advice on that is, are you doing, like, is that content resonating with actual clients? First, I guess you have to answer the question is like, one, do you care? But two, if you did daily content every day for whoever your contact is at this law firm, marketing manager for a law firm, whatever, insert that avatar.
Yeah.
Like, would you be willing to shift? Because what I would argue is this is great. Your personal stuff is great for the personal brand stuff, which I know you've been working on and have been doing a great job with it or whatever. And it helps you find people in WordPress, and it helps you find people to work with, which is going to help the business. So that's fine. Like, I have no problem with that. But now is like, when you would you shift to something that is critically focused on the client, where it's not like, here's the potatoes and steak I made today, but it's like, here's the thing that I learned at this conference that's applicable to you, the customer.
So, the thing that is probably going to keep me from becoming a billionaire is exactly that. Now, I see three options. Option one, everything Mark Szymanski becomes random fucking niche that I would immediately get annoyed by talking about in less than a month. So like, let's use the idea of like law firm. I'm going to be the website law firm guy, and everything you see from Mark Szymanski is about website law firm. I would want to, off myself in less than a month if I was just talking about that. Guaranteed, no doubt, 100%. I truly believe that I'm interesting enough, and I'm funny enough, entertaining and educational enough to like talk about anything I want on my personal brand at any times while still liking it and being that like omnipresent thing. Now, you're 100% right though. Is that going to drive specific effective business just doing that? Probably not. So I think the two other paths are, one, mix in content about a specific niche while still staying human and not talking about that every single time. More than likely, though, the secondary idea, and I don't know why I haven't tried this sooner because this is probably the best option for me, do the exact same thing I'm doing on my personal brand, but for Find a Tech, or what it's to be named to at some point, because I know you love that topic. Like Find a Tech, like on that channel, on the actual the business that is doing that work, make that the outlet for whatever it is. Now, even like saying like Mark at Find a Tech or something like that, where it's a little more humanized, it's kind of in that middle ground. But if I'm going to be doing that information, that stuff through that business, I would just do it through that business, because I don't know, I have this intense, staunch belief system that I do not want to be just one singular type of person. There are so many people out there doing a lot of successful stuff by doing that, and maybe one day I will change, but I just do not want to do that. I just can't do it, because I like talking about whatever I want to talk about on my own personal channel.
Yeah.
Even though if it's not the most effective. Don't know what to say.
Yeah, no,
not there yet.
I'm right there with you. Like, I think, again, like we talked about this, I think in the last episode, like there's just a ton of stuff that I don't want to do. And like, as I sort of reposition the WP Minute to more of like education and consulting kind of thing, it's, hybrid kind of thing. It's still very hard for me to not like want to comment on all like this WordPress community stuff. Like if it's something big, obviously like we'll still talk about it, but it's really hard for me not to like hold back on that, but I have to, because there's things that just simply don't make money for me at the WP minute. So that's the biggest challenge for me.
Well, that's
anyway.
the thing. That's the thing is like I started that, you know, I've had so many conversations recently. I started my year saying, and I think I don't know if I'm on the show or it was offline. I was like, all right, this is the year of making money. And I did that. And I quickly realized and quickly pivoted to the idea that like, okay, yes, we do need to make money, but like we will I burn myself out so fast by doing that, because like I do need to make money, but I also need to at least mix that in with things that like I don't hate. And the things that I don't hate, the things that I preferably enjoy, will at minimum gain me and garnish me more attention. So then I could definitely leverage the attention if I'm making money from doing things that like are like so-so or whatever, and doing doing things that I also like by staying omnipresent, providing value, and putting this value first thing out in the world. I will eventually be able to turn that into a specific money play. And then that's when like there's a little bit more, I don't want to call it, again, I don't want to call it enjoyment, fulfillment, but just like opportunity, even because I'm not like, I feel like that's a better way to get to where I wanted to be. And I've tried to do this in the past, but I haven't done it like as successfully, because this is always like an iterative journey. But yeah, I mean, and the one other thing that you said there, I feel like I always need to have an outlet to say whatever I want to say. This is the whole reason I don't have a job, is because I don't want to ever be silenced by, if I have a thought, like, you know, maybe I'll think about it before I say it. That's probably a good idea. But like, I don't want to put myself in a situation where like I can't say something, and I want to have an outlet for that. So when you say there's some things that you have to like hold back, it's like, I would argue, yeah, don't put them on the WP Minute. And for me, like, don't put them on Find a Tech or whatever, but like, you put them on Matt Medeiros' channel or the Matt Report or, you know, Mark Spancy, you know what I mean? Like, that's, if I ever didn't have that, I would feel no longer like the thing that I set out to do, like, or partially, you know, partially the part of this that I love the most and
Yeah, I mean,
set out.
It's good that you can make that, you know, conscious decision. I think that a lot of people can't, but the people that do are just simply like, they're just there. And either way, there's no right or wrong. Like, I commend the people that can just run a business as a business. Like, there's no like emotional attachment to it. And they run great businesses, right? Like, you rarely see Syed from WP Beginner and Awesomotive, of course, like, for all the flack and criticism that he gets, and you know, my day job is a competitor to his products, and you never really hear him talk about anything but business or like what his foundation is doing. He's not personal, like, he has a big wrap up that he does like every year or whatever, but he's not like every day. It's not like every day I'm doing this, I'm going here, I mean, this is what I'm working on. It's none of that, and it's just like him running a business, and that's totally fine. And a lot of people are super successful about that. I prefer to have it your way as well, where it's like, I'm going to continue talking about stuff that I want to talk about. You know, just because that's the way I am too. And I'm not saying any way is right or wrong, really.
I think everyone's just different in that regard. I think for me specifically, I did some reflection on this. Like, when I started getting interested in business and content or whatever, like, that's what the people were doing. Like Gary Vee, he was watching, or he was creating like vlogs, and like, just, he was like providing value, but it was in kind of like a humanized, entertaining way with like Daily V and stuff like that. You know, it was like vlog culture. Now, I'm not going to necessarily start a vlog per se, but like, that's kind of what I'm doing with the little mini things. Like, just like, I just like doing that. Like, I don't know what else to say. And even if nobody was watching, there are some people watching that, like, it's not blowing up, but like, there are people watching that. And I get comments like from, again, strangers, appreciate all the love, that like, hey, really loving the daily videos and all this stuff. So like, my point is, if I could make, not even a recommendation, but like, if somebody's out there and they're thinking about this, I would just tell them, look, if you are doing something and you actually don't really care, like, your first thought is like, I just want to do the thing, I don't care if it's getting views or whatever, or if it's generating revenue, I'm not saying you should definitely do that, but you should definitely put that on like the higher end of your list of, this is probably something that just naturally resonates with me. And if I do it more and more and more, there's a good chance that it will eventually turn into more than just something I like to do. That's super generalized, but I think in this context, I think it works well, because the downside of me spending an hour max a day to like do those things, I think is way, way lower than like the potential upside. And even already like the little bit of uptick that I've had in, audience, viewership, messages, just people seeing my face more, my name more. I just think like everything, I'll put a bow on that with this. I know that what I'm like doing, what I'm striving for, the value that I'm providing is not complete bullshit. Like I know that for a fact. Therefore, more attention is only a positive. If I was a snake oil salesman, then like that I don't know if that would necessarily equate. Like it wouldn't, like if you were selling a piece of shit product, then more attention could potentially like be, I don't know, detrimental perhaps. I don't know. Maybe you want to be more calculated, but I don't see a negative, like a huge negative to that part of what I'm doing. But just got to monetize that long term and monetize other things in the short term.
For sure. You jumping on that GPT-5 that released? Is that improving the business at all, or any of your recent work?
What have I used that for? I've used it for definitely some copywriting, because
is that the only AI tool that you're using right now?
I'm very annoyed because I think I have 2 ChatGPT subscriptions like an idiot for the content business and the Find a Tech. I like to be kind of segregated in that regard, and it doesn't happen. Like I just go onto the one, so I should really cancel the other one. I do have a Claude subscription, but I haven't used it in a while because I thought it was really good at writing, and I think it's still probably good at writing. But like, I mean, ChatGPT seems like it's come a long way in that regard. And then I have Grok. I don't know. I don't understand Grok. I don't know if you get it. Everyone gets it. I have X Premium or whatever for the little checkmark thing, but I don't have any of the Grok upgrades.
Well, you should. You should have you have the paid version of it.
Oh, do I? Okay. Well,
yeah.
I don't have Super Grok or whatever the hell.
No.
Going
you'd have to pay separately for that.
I don't know if you're going here, but I like the voice modes in Grok. Like, well, I haven't tested them extensively, but the one that I probably need the most in my life is the one that is argumentative. Is it called argumentative? Where like it will not, like how ChatGPT or all the other ones used to be total yes men. This one will not fucking give you an answer. It will just keep asking you questions. If you haven't used it, you have to use that. It is a little maddening, but it forces you to like be honest with yourself. And I used it a couple times, and it actually pisses you off, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm starting to go back. You know me. I'm going back down this.
I know you.
I'm going back down the roller coaster, and it's just
You
like
and your buddy Greg Eisenberg.
like this stuff is like everyone was waiting for GPT-5, and it wasn't amazing. Like remember a year ago when people were like, "Well, when GPT-5 gets here, like 4 was really good," and we're like, "Wow, like wait till GPT-5 gets here." Mm-hmm. And it came, and it was just like, okay, so basically it's like helping you decide which model to use effectively. It almost feels like just like this layer on top of all of ChatGPT, which to me still makes sense. Like that makes sense, but it's not like this massive leap of things. And I feel like, when computers were really making big jumps and big gains, even you've figured like the first 20 years of like PCs, and then even when the Mac came out with like when they switched from Intel to their own chips to an M1, you were like, holy shit, this thing is amazing. Like my M1 is still pretty damn good for like 90% of the tasks. And I feel like now we're just like getting into that stage of AI where it's just like, all right, here we go. It's just like incremental improvements, and AI is just becoming this thing that is a 30% efficiency gain, which I'm not saying is bad, but it's just like, what's next? Like, why is this taking so long to really to see this thing like actually work right? I mean, everything is so hyped. I don't want to go down the MCP path again, but like everyone was hyping up MCP, like, oh shit, MCPs are here. I haven't heard anything about MCPs in the last like 60 days, all summer. Like, what's happening? What's happening with MCPs? Claude introduced their MCP connector to Stripe. I don't know if I talked about it on this podcast or another podcast. And I ran a report. I connected my Stripe account and I said, tell me my top 10 clients that have paid me in my Stripe account. And it was like, I was doing 15 minutes of like back and forth asking it, like, and it couldn't give me that information when I could literally just walk into Stripe and sort the table by, income per customer. It would give it like 2 seconds. I would have done that. And this couldn't do it with all of the GPUs and billions of dollars that this thing had. And I'm just like, when is this actually going to work the way that people want it to? So anyway, I don't want to turn it into that conversation, but I was just curious if you found a new tool along the way helping you do stuff.
We haven't had cynical Matt AI conversations in a while. Yeah, I that's why I was feeling so good recently, because I didn't have that. I do think a couple of quick things though, a couple of quick notes. I think we were talking about with ChatGPT 5. I haven't followed all the models, every O3I XYZ element of P thing every step of the way here, but I do think like one thing I'm noticing is GPT 5 seems like it is that more like kind of like they're cleaning things up. It's a little bit more cohesive. Like I saw like they used to have that old voice mode, then they had the advanced voice mode. Now it's just called ChatGPT voice. So that seems like they're consolidating and like making that a little more standard. It seems like, again, like, like you're talking about with all the different models, you could probably go to different legacy ones, but ultimately it's kind of doing a lot of that work for you. So that's cool. That's cool to see. It seems like it is like maturing a little bit in a way. I actually watched videos on this, which is rare for me because I normally just mess around with this stuff and I don't really go nearly as deep as you have into this realm. I've never even used like a deep research situation, but I saw agent mode and I saw a couple of videos and I was like, oh, let me think if there's like any, here's what I struggle with. Okay. and you know this because like we've talked about this many times. I look at all this stuff and like, I know this is going to be really impactful and like really powerful. But then I sit at this prompt line here and I think, what the fuck am I going to use this thing for? Like what, like I can't even come up with an example of how I could use some of this stuff. I think like, what am I one day I literally was like looking around thinking like, what am I doing all the time with my tooling right now that I'm physically typing or clicking that this thing could do for me at the current stage? And then I watched a video on like agent mode and, you know, all the examples were like, plan me a trip to Italy. And I'm like, I'm not going to Italy anytime soon. Like, maybe that's a good example. There were some other things like the idea that it could connect to your, you know, there's connectors to Gmail, to Google Drive and stuff like that or whatever now. Like, that's cool. I need to think of some good ideas there. But I tried to use agent mode and I don't really know if I got anything accomplished. I like the idea of like creating images and stuff like that, but sometimes that sucks as well. But yeah, I'm trying to think of practical things. And again, I've skewed to personal usage. It would be cool to like dive into like more business usage, things that are like actually going to like make me money. Again, like your boy Greg Eisenberg and Mindsaw say. But yeah, it's tough for me. I just can't think of any ideas.
I used agent mode to research. So recently, for like one of my gazillion side projects, with the podcast that I'm executive producing with a friend of mine, Our Beloved Medium, ourbelovedmedium.com. I was researching for sponsors, and there's sort of like a trade publication in the podcasting space, and they have a ton of sponsors, and they have all their logos with links, just like I do, or just like everybody does with, you know, publication. You have a sponsor logo link to the sponsor's website or whatever, but they have like, I don't know, like almost 200 sponsors on this website. So I asked Agent Mode to go and build me a table of those sponsors And the instructions were just like, go to this website, scroll down to the Our Sponsors section, and for all the logos that you see there, get me the name of the business, get me the link to the website, and research LinkedIn for the best contact for that brand. And so you see, anyone who hasn't used agent mode, like you actually see like the browser, like a mini browser in your browser or whatever, and you see it and you're just like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then it actually had me log in to LinkedIn in its browser, and I was like, oh, this is a big fucking security risk, but I don't give a shit. So I was just like, screw it.
That,
like, you know, a million people asking them to do things on LinkedIn. You just log into my account, 700 million OpenAI users. And it went through and it found like 40-ish contacts of those 200 links, and it built a whole list. I had to go back and forth a few times to just like make the list because I was just being lazy. But I was just like, give me it in a CSV format so I can just import it into Google, and I can have that there. And it was kind of cool. It took like 22 minutes to do something like that, I think was the number that it took. I mean, it's still like saving you from going, right click, open a new tab, right click, open a new tab, get these URLs, and then certainly like the research side of it. I don't know how accurate it is. I haven't gone through it yet. But certainly like the research of like searching on LinkedIn and doing all this other stuff to find these things. But anyway, it is interesting and powerful, but it's still not like, that's all it is. It's like interesting, but I too have not found a great use case for it. There's a company that, Automatic recently acquired called Clay, and I think it's clay.earth is the URL, and I've been using that a lot. They don't dub it like a CRM, like contact relationship manager or customer relationship manager. It's more of like I think they just call it like a contact relationship thing. It's not as deep, basically. It's not like it's not like HubSpot, where HubSpot's just like, hey, track all these deals. Here's a Kanban board of like all of your open projects. Clay focuses more on the individual. We interviewed him on the WP Minute for the acquisition. Clay focuses more on just like the individual relationships that you have. And I actually really, really, really like it. And it's almost becoming an app that I'm like, holy shit, I hope Automatic continues to invest in this thing, because it's pretty damn good. I mean, it doesn't have all the things that I would want like to run the business, but for like the WP Minute, if I need to follow up with people every month, like, hey, they didn't sign the sponsorship thing yet, or if they are a big sponsor of mine, I have like monthly check-ins with them to see what's happening, and it like curates all the updates that they've had from whatever, like their Twitter bio or LinkedIn and stuff like that. So the reminder pops up, for example, like the reminder pop up for somebody I need to follow up with, and I can kind of just see like in a little quick snapshot if they've changed anything, like their bio or their job title or like any posts and stuff like that. And it's pretty damn nice. And I've been kind of living by it as like the second brain, because that's what I need. Like, this is kind of what I need, is I need that second brain to be like, oh, this person hasn't followed up with you yet, and it's worth, it's a $12,000 sponsorship spot. Like, you should like check in with them. Like, that's when this shit becomes really valuable to me. Well, like AI, talking about AI.
I mean, a couple things. One, I'm looking back at my chats here, just the agent mode thing, and I just was like, messing around with it. I think I remember doing this on my phone on the Android app, and I was like, scan my Google Calendar for next month and tell me so-and-so about my schedule or whatever. And I think I tried that on my phone, and it didn't, it said continue on the web because I couldn't like actually put the browser thing came up, but I had to do that. So then like, I don't even know if I ended up trying to do that, but then I was like literally having a conversation. I was like, tell me what this thing can do. Like, like at this point, I feel like a lot of my life is in this ChatGPT memory because it knows what I do. I'm like, okay, listen, me, and this is the thing. This is gonna fall into what you just said. This thing knows me. Like, just tell me what you think you should be doing for me at this point, based on the capabilities that you have. And it's like, One of the things is kind of like that. Your follow-up buddy that handles reminders and sends stuff out for you and stuff. I'm like, anytime I start thinking about like this thing sending shit for me is like, I start like getting a little concerned. But like your example was like, you need an AI assistant, which they really fucked up when they called it like an AI assistant at first, because that wasn't an assistant. That's not what I would classify as an assistant. What I think of an assistant is like literally like an executive assistant or executive secretary or whatever, where that is the person that is your second brain, like you were saying, and does all of the stuff that like you make the decisions, you do the strategy, you do the planning or whatever, but the executive assistant like keeps everything running on track, so to speak, or like keeps the train on track, keeps the make sure that you're, again, like you said, like you're following up and etc. That could be really cool, but does it in a way where you don't have to set your own reminders. You just have to live and you just have to have the conversations. Now, the only trouble there is like, to me, the one that screams that it makes the most sense is probably Gemini for somebody like me that uses Google for everything. Because now I'd have to like this is the big problem, is like now I have ChatGPT over in this silo and I'd have to like I guess I could just connect it, but then what if that gets disconnected? How does that work? Like this is why I don't love like the idea of a monopoly, but you guys in Apple world are kind of fucked because they're not doing anything. But in like Google land, like if they could get this to work like that, that might be super, super duper. It might already, honest to God, like I think that probably already works, and I just haven't like tried that at all. But I might have to experiment with that now, because then if you could just constantly be selling and doing the part that a human is needed for, then you could have, that might actually be really powerful as a solopreneur.
One of the things I want to do with you eventually is a live stream or screen, or we'll just do a screen share of vibe coding an app that it would be useful for your that would be useful for your business, and I think that would be kind of fun. We can kind of come up with something that might be effective for Find It Tech, unless you change the name again.
I'm gonna change the name, dude. I never changed it the first time. That's always been the name.
I know, but I know, but you're always debating it.
It's not a good name.
WP Minute, the WPMinute.com/subscribe. You can join the newsletter, mjs.bio, while it's still mjs.bio until he changes that as well. Mark Szymanski, as always, thanks for joining today.
Thanks, brother.